Allie here to invite you to my free upcoming workshop, Untangle Your Food Triggers, Catch Yourself Before You Fall Off Track. I will be hosting this interactive workshop on Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. I say that because, oh my God, it's here already. In this workshop, you're going to see why falling off track with your food makes complete sense. And no, that isn't a typo. And you're going to leave with the most important paradigm shift you can make if lasting change with your food is what you're after, especially if you don't want to feel deprived. We're going to go over the clear and specific driving force that makes you fall off track with food. And I promise you it has nothing to do with willpower or discipline. We're going to go over the 4 emotional triggers that bring on food self-sabotage, go through a live coaching exercise so you can identify your specific triggers with time for Q&A. And you're going to learn the emotional eating blueprint that allows you to stay on track for the results you crave. We always have a lot of insatiable listeners, which I love. It's always a good time. So I hope you'll join us. You can sign up in the show notes or go to trucewithfood.com/consistency. I hope to see you there. I don't offer this workshop often, so catch us this time around. Welcome to Insatiable, the podcast where we discuss the intersection of food, psychology, and culture.
The biggest thing for me too was I don't like to cry or show emotion, but I could not help that. But I felt safe, and it was such a relief because the group is a place that I can't talk about these things, these issues anywhere else. With anyone else, with this raw honesty and just vulnerability and feeling exposed. And really, really, I tried hard not to cry, but I just couldn't. It was just such a release and a relief to be in a safe space.
I'm your host, Ali Shapiro, an integrated health coach, 32-year and counting cancer survivor, and have radically healed my relationship with food and my body. And for the past 17 years, I've been working with clients individually, in group programs, and in company settings to do the same. Welcome. The information in this podcast should not be considered personal, individual, or medical advice. So today we have a very special guest. It is one of my clients, Dee, who we met about 1.5 years ago when she decided to take the Truce With Food consistency program after having tried lots of things that she's going to talk about in today's interview. And I wanted to have Dee on so you can hear someone's real life experience of going through my 3-month Truce With Food consistency program, which is open for registration right now. All the details are in the show notes. So enjoy today's episode with Dee. We're going to talk about kind of all the things she had tried before joining consistency, why she decided to join, how she felt about success being just showing up, and what results did she get from what I call showing up with a C+ effort, okay? We're going to talk now that she's 1.5 years outside of the program, okay? Where was she compared to when she started? And I love this because often, in marketing terms, I have to talk about sustainable changes. But really, when you go through the framework that I've created, it's not just sustainable changes, it's transformational because they start to accumulate. And Dee is going to talk about those transformational results. And she's going to talk about what surprised her, what was most helpful. And so you're really getting a sneak peek and behind the curtain of the magic and why it's so magical. So enjoy today's episode. I'm sure you will fall in love with Dee's story, just like I love Dee and all my clients. I always tell the people that I coach in my Truce coaching certification that once you learn someone's story, it's so easy to fall in love with them. So enjoy Dee's very insightful answers in this interview. And if you are interested in Truce With Food consistency, check it out. Registration ends February 18th and won't be open for quite a while. So I don't want you to have to put off this kind of work because we know the older we are, the more important it is to make these changes sooner than later. All right. Enjoy today's episode. So Dee, thank you so much for being here. I know coming on a podcast is like a big edge, and then the stuff we talk about is deep. So I just really appreciate you putting yourself out there.
Absolutely. Thanks for asking me. It helped me get over, just to face another challenge, and that's exciting.
Yeah, yeah. So, nobody gets to midlife without trying a lot of things with their health, their weight, their bodies, all of these things. So, tell me where you were before you came to Truce with Food Consistency, which used to be called Why Am I Eating This Now?
I was stuck in a lot of emotional eating, just looking to food for comfort and really feeling like that was the only place to find it and just to kind of numb out. Like probably so many people, I've done so many programs, so many things prior to this. I did, Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, Prolon, isogenics, fasting, like just so many things. And I just, again, just so frustrated, frustrated with my body, frustrated with myself, feeling shame that it was just, I'm not disciplined, I'm not doing something right enough. And I also did an expensive functional medicine program. It certainly had its value, but like all the out of pocket blood tests and panels, and none of it really got me to the root cause, which is what I was looking for. So, yeah, I was just really, really stuck, feeling alone, feeling like the other, didn't have much compassion for myself. And kind of desperate, and very frustrated. So, and I actually just found you on a podcast through another podcaster, and thought, yeah, why not? Yeah, I have to try something else because this stuff isn't working.
Yeah. And, when you tried, like, because I've tried Weight Watchers, I remember isogenic, like, I tried all that stuff too. Does it feel like it kind of works at first, right? And like, did you have that experience, or was it like after a while I found nothing worked? But in the beginning, those kind of plans and protocols, they seem to, like, I don't know, they give you a sense of control. Or was that your experience?
Yes and no. I didn't find a lot of success because I would imagine a lot of other, like, again, it's not usually ever like one thing, one reason. But I found a little bit of success. But like when I did a 21-day cleanse, a lot of people would lose like 13 pounds. I lost like a three-ish. And so that was incredibly frustrating, and also feeling like, what's wrong with my body? Why am I not like other people? I just feel like I look at other women and they just stop eating and then they're like, so thin and can't fit back in their pants or whatever. But so yes, some success. But just like the first time I did Jenny Craig, I had a lot of success, but I was a lot younger. I was still in my 20s. And then when I tried to do Jenny Craig for a second round, just eating the food out of the box, I thought, well, how can this not work? But I wasn't really successful then either, and I was older, so the same things didn't work.
Yeah, I love that you bring that context in. It's like in your 20s, a lot of things will work temporarily, but then as you age, it's our physiology just changes.
Yeah, and I always kind of also I would try and outrun the fork, if you will. I was able to really run just miles and miles younger, and then I started to develop an Achilles issue. Basically, had a bone sticking out of my foot because your body does try and compensate, and find stability when you can't. So about it, like I think just around the time of Why Am I Eating This Now and Consistency, I had surgery, which was fantastic, but I can run now, but I choose not to because I want to be consistent and sustainable. So I am walking because I don't feel like I'm going to have an injury and end up at the PT forever again. So I find walking, such a light spot and saving me, because I'm just kind of terrified to get hurt again, or and I definitely don't want surgery again.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. So, having tried so many things, like so many of us, did you have any hesitations about signing up for Truce with Food Consistency? Because again, yeah, did you have any hesitations?
Honestly, not really, because I was just so frustrated. And after I felt like I did the functional medicine program with a doctor, a life coach, a nutritionist, and I still really wasn't finding success, I really truly didn't have hesitation. I just, again, seeking answers, and just was like, I have to try something different. I have to try something new. And I felt really comfortable because I felt good about it being based on science and research. And it was about behavioral change, not just like, okay, what does my blood panel say? And and just getting frustrated, like, is it my genetics? Is it this? Is it that? I just thought, if I can, kind of get my mind in better shape, my body will follow, and I could finally see some real sustainable changes. So yeah, I didn't really have any hesitation, because just feeling so powerless and just seeking answers, and something that would finally be sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's unfortunately what's happened with functional medicine is original. And again, not all functional medicine practitioners or whatever, it's such a varied field. But the idea was like, look at the whole person, right? Look at their, not just their blood panels, but look at where are they in their lives? Where are they with their stress? Like, why do their symptoms make sense, including not being able to sustain certain things? And it's become kind of what it originally was designed to counteract, which is kind of like just now giving people plans and protocols and not seeing people as a whole person, but just now like a collection of blood work.
Absolutely. That's exactly how I felt. I mean, it definitely had its value. It was a piece of my journey.
Yeah.
It helped me understand different things, but that's what I kept just feeling like they're not hearing me, like these other factors. I was just like, they're not seeing me completely, like these other factors. Like at the time, I couldn't really even exercise because I had this bone sticking out of my foot. So it was just like, I just felt like it was this script and the protocol. And I'm not trying to beat up on that. It was a piece of my journey, and it helped me lead me to where I am now, because I had tried. I felt like I've tried everything. I crossed everything off the list, and so it definitely led me to here, but I didn't really feel totally seen and heard.
Yeah. 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 So I guess you decided to join as just like, this is focused on behavior change. It felt like something more mindset, more like you said, get my mind right, the body will follow. Was there any other reasons you decided to join or?
Just really trying to find the root cause, and the emotional piece of, why I reach for food, for comfort and numbness, and why, frankly, why it makes sense that I do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. So inconsistency and the opening circle, we start with, for people not familiar, it's called the second wind exercise, which is essentially we plan for you to fall off track with the program. And it's not a program like eat this, not this, but it's like showing up to understand your patterns. And we talk about success just being showing up. Right? How did that land for you prior to taking the program?
I freaking loved it, actually, and I was fascinated by it because, well, a couple of things. I just thought, okay, I just have to show up. I can do that. I can do that. I don't, no guilt, no judgment if I didn't do the homework or if I didn't progress as other folks were progressing in the program. Because again, I have like pretty much a self-defeating attitude because I just hadn't had a ton of success in the past. And it just took the pressure off of me. But I really just found that approach fascinating, because it's like, I mean, of course, we all think we're going to have perfect attendance and do everything just right and really, guns blazing, get to it. But it just took away the excuses, and it just felt like really honest that, like, okay, this might happen. And if it does, like, what are you going to tell yourself? And yeah, I just found it such a fascinating and eye-opening approach. It just really, allowed me to take it head on. And again, it just reduced the pressure so much, because I was like, I can absolutely show up. I can be present. It doesn't mean I have to talk. It doesn't mean I have to participate until I'm ready, but I can absolutely show up. And it just was such a relief to have that pressure taken off.
Oh, I love that. I love that. When you did the second wind exercise, do you remember what came up for you of like why I might take myself out of the game? Why I might not just show up?
Well, I like to write more than I like to speak in a group. So I found that helpful. But the second wind exercise allowed me to just work through the obstacles, but also when we were able to gather as a group. I've never been in that setting before, where I just didn't feel alone. And just being guided by you, being guided by a professional, feeling like there was a safety net, there was safety in what I was sharing, and just not feeling that my thoughts and feelings were odd. They were, some of the folks had the same feelings and triggers and behaviors that I had. And it felt like there was going to be a path to find the root cause, again, which is kind of just being so more open and honest about what we were entering into was really helpful.
Yeah. I remember for you, like taking up space was a big thing. And it's crazy because every time you like again in the beginning you wouldn't talk a lot, but by the end you would share and it was always so helpful for everybody. I remember people like so how was that like working through feeling like I don't want to take up too much space? Do you remember like I don't even know if you remember the trajectory because I feel
Oh,
like
I absolutely do. It it gives me like honestly, it just reassures me. It gives me so much comfort and realization that how far I've come. I definitely did not want to be a burden, did not want to take up space, did not want to take time away from others, feeling like I wasn't as worthy or my issues weren't as hard or as important as some as others. So I absolutely do remember that, and and just getting kind of worked up when you asked me to share. You gently did it, and I was able to kind of go through it. But honestly, like the biggest thing for me too was I don't like to cry or show emotion, but I could not help that. But I felt safe, and it was such a relief because the group is a place that like I can't talk about these things, these issues anywhere else with anyone else, like with this raw honesty and just vulnerability and feeling exposed. And really, really, I tried hard not to cry, but I just couldn't. It was just such a release and a relief to be in a safe space with you and other women that, were where so many things looked and felt familiar. But yeah, that, and I just am, yeah, just so grateful that, I mean, for me to like, again, come on the podcast and I couldn't even speak at all in the group. But it does just add a whole different element of like just journaling and having your thoughts with yourself. It just allowed so much growth because I was accepted and comforted and just really, really supported. So it was just huge.
yeah, well, and I think what you're pointing to, and this is like the obstacle is the path, is that like, it's almost like when we're eating alone, it could be called like, I'll handle it myself eating, right? Like, it's like, oh, and we isolate. And I never usually believe anything is all or nothing, but I think it is very hard to work through food issues when what you need is compassionate witnessing and attunement, because the whole reason we're eating is we're not attuned. And so you can't attune yourself if you've never had that. Like you literally need the group or a guide. And so I love that you're bringing that up because it's so it's just it's what I believe in.
And to that point, like they're just skills I didn't even know I needed. I didn't even know what those skills were. I have never felt embodied or attuned to my own needs or my own self prior to jumping into why am I eating this now and consistency. And truly, because I just took care of other people's needs constantly and always pushed myself to the side and felt like that was my obligation and duty and job. And so I didn't even know what skills I needed. And just again, just to have a safe space to be able to be acknowledged that like my behaviors made sense and to come to a place that gave me the skills that said, okay, pause, here's some options, here's a safety signal menu that you can reach to movement or music or connection, many things, creativity. I just didn't even know those resources were available to me. Just so much of my life, I've just been like, just tense and clenching my fists now. I've just always just been clenching my fists and holding on, embracing myself that I didn't have the skills. I didn't even know what the skills were that would be useful to me to try and just feel more at peace and just frankly better in general.
Yeah. Well, and I also just want to circle back to you saying like where you could actually show up with these issues. Cause I find that like at least half the people in consistency tell me they're like, my spouse doesn't even know I'm taking this. Right. Like, so I think that speaks to how isolating these food issues can be. And then we all think we're struggling alone, even though but like so many people are out there alone. We just need to come together and like figure it out together.
Absolutely. The community and the connection is because yeah, I couldn't discuss these things with my husband. I mean, he has his own food issues that I never even could realize, because again, I was just so like blaming and shaming myself all the time. And definitely feeling like I couldn't disclose things to other folks because, again, I just look at them and they stop eating a meal or two and they're skinny. So I just did the group and the connection. That is the unique piece and the difference between anything I've ever done before. And I really, truly feel that that is the difference maker. Collectively, we can all learn new skills and move forward. And again, it's based in science and research and a skill base that you can build a capacity for and have witnesses and compassionate witnesses to that. So it's just really, really something special.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I always say the group is the medicine, but we all come into it. Like, I think what I find challenging about trying to encourage this work is like there's a lot of reluctant joiners, right? Like if you are eating, especially alone, right? Like if you're trying to be away from people and eat alone or eat at night, it's like there is something that feels very separating and isolating. And so then you have this protective resistance to wanting to be in a group, but it's actually what you need. And then you come out of it and you're like, oh my God, there's no way you can do this alone. But you don't know that until you like go through like your values shift, I think, around belonging and groups, and again, not all groups, but the right groups.
The right group, what I really learned, the first thing I felt like I learned was I have to find the right compassionate witness because I didn't feel like that. And I knew it that I didn't have the right compassionate witnesses around me. I didn't feel comfortable. And that was the first step, just finding a compassionate witness to, just be open-minded and because I had an addiction to books. I just buy another book. I just think I don't have any of the information. Someone else has the answer. Someone else has the information. I listen to a million podcasts. I have a rack of books about different ways to approach things. And it's just, it's the connection and the witnessing and kind of working through things together that kind of gets you to the other side.
Yeah, for sure. So as you started to, I love that you like plug the group because it's why I love doing group work. It's like we all just move faster together. It's just better. But once you were willing to show up, right, with that quote unquote C plus effort, what surprised you about the work? I mean, we talked a little bit about the group stuff, but was there anything else that surprised you with this work?
Really, how much the language mattered. You gave me like a framework, guardrails to think differently and be more open-minded. I feel more comfortable in like I mean, this is more than that, but like just starting and introducing, like I feel more comfortable in a teacher professor kind of setting where you're giving me the knowledge and I'm just scribbling it down as fast as I can and trying to absorb as much as I can. But the language started to make all the difference for me in the beginning because just using a different word changed everything. Replenish, nourish, just so much of the language it was able to like just open my mind in a different way and made me feel safe to just think differently and start to become more self-aware. And also the thing that surprised me, again, the C plus effort, loved because I didn't have to be perfect. I didn't have to feel like I was gonna not show up in the right way, not say the right thing. There's no right or wrong answers, but kind of most importantly, that I did not need to be fixed. It was just helpful to be seen and heard. And just, really what I needed again was just the right compassionate witness and a safe space to just release my frustration and sadness and just to gain more knowledge and skills and knowledge, I mean, like knowledge just encompasses so many things, like so much we cover so much, but truly the beginning steps for me was the change in language. It really, I just can't describe how it changed my compassion for myself and my comfort and ease moving forward each day and giving me that like just giving me that strength and new perspective on things that really, really helped me.
I love that you brought up that language piece because I've had several people be like, this is like learning a new language. It's like, and I was like, yeah, I get, because I've been so immersed in it for so long, but it is, it's like, and until you can have the language, you're just kind of in the old world that you've always been in, right? Of like, even the word compassion, like, how has that shifted your understanding? Because I used to, when I was struggling with food, I'm like, compassion sounds like I'm just giving up. Like, that's how, again, I was really judgmental of myself, but like the idea of compassion, or, and maybe it hasn't, but has it, like, how you understand it has shifted?
I hope this makes sense, but like I so needed just to be given permission to give myself compassion. And
Mm.
group and your framework gave me permission to have compassion for myself because I absolutely did not. I was so hard on myself. Just, of course, everything had to be my fault and I wasn't doing things right. That's why I wasn't successful. My body's just not like other people. There has to be something wrong with me. Again, the permission to feel compassion for myself, like that totally changed. I'm not even sure I knew that word was in my vocabulary, except for other people. I can eat
Mm.
judgment free and compassionate zones to folks constantly, but I couldn't give that to myself. And again, having that permission to do so really, really changed because again, often why we turn to food, it does make sense. And just being able to hear that, and be able to give yourself compassion, that compassion really allows for the behavior that you don't hope for, that it allows it to stop or pause. It decreases in intensity and duration just with that compassion that you can give yourself.
Yeah. Cause it's like you can finally see yourself as whole, right? Like, I'm not broken. This makes, it's like the body when it's scabbing over a scab, right? It's like, oh, you're doing your thing, right? And then we don't realize how food is kind of like, oh my God, I'm just trying to, right? Dr. Deborah McNamara says it almost works to comfort us, right? And it's like, okay, I'm doing what I was told, like you said, I didn't know there were other skills. So I just love that you bring that up, that it gave you permission.
Sorry, the other piece about the group that, like, when I was witnessing compassion, when I was easily giving compassion to others, what happened was I have really never been able to receive compassion or receive any praise or positive reinforcement. Like, just like, I would just shush it away. Like, no, 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 what I was able to have with the group was it's allowed me another skill to be able to receive. And again, that's helpful. It's helpful to stop the negative thought patterns and the negative, like just being able to receive and having the compassion of the group is significant and also unique to this program.
Yeah. Oh, I love that you brought up the receiving part because it's like, it sounds like, oh, we all want it. But then when you get it, it can be like, do I owe people for this? What do I have to do with this? Instead of like, nothing, you just have to be in it.
And that is definitely new to me. There's so many things like maybe folks think like this is just so normal. Like these things were not normal for me. I've been existing like this for a reason, just trying to give and accommodate to others and never receive or, give myself some space or compassion, really. So I just can't emphasize enough. These things that may seem small to others, they're huge. They're just huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're taught it's like go big or go home when like what's small is really profound and which actually moves the needle. Right. So you are about a year and a half out of Truce With Food consistency. Where are you now compared to when we started?
Um, I just find so much, positive energy from you pointing out, like, just even such small things that reassure me that I really feel like I've come so far. Things really started to shift, like going back to the beginning when I was started understanding the tail triggers, tired, anxious, inadequate, and lonely. And again, when I was given the notion that I needed to resource myself, I find myself in all of those categories of triggers, but oftentimes anxious. And just that if I'm better able to resource myself and reach for these things, the safety menu, and realizing that there really are tools and that I deserve to be able to use these tools. I deserve to see movement as just as a break that I need, that I have to have in order to, be able to keep moving forward. But the shift really happened when I really, again, just learned that I didn't necessarily have to turn to food, and being compassionate to myself allowed me to stop the binging, and learning again to resource myself. I could calm my anxiety with movement, music, breath work, and noticing nature. But the biggest shift was when just pause. Everything didn't feel as high stakes like it had in the past. Everything wasn't such a all or nothing. Like, this is going to be it. The relationship's over. They're going to leave. They're going to leave me. I ate this one thing, so nothing's going to work. I failed again. So really, it was in the beginning, just with understanding why me turning to food for so many years made sense.
Yeah. I love that you brought up the high stakes, because for listeners, part of what we get into in the course is when our belonging or significance feels under threat, we feel things have to be urgent. We have to react. We have to decide. And then we split. We think we judge ourselves and then we judge other people. And when we're feeling this under threat. So part of a lot of what we work on is that pause that Dee's talking about, because believe it or not, you have to learn how to pause instead, especially in this age of social media, right? Where we think everyone's reacting instantly. That's actually encouraged more, but you got to slow things down when you want to go fast. And that's a skill set that takes time to learn, because you have to learn how your physiology, how your belonging radar, which is the drive that makes us want to turn to food, works. But that's what we talk about and teach in the program. Is I love that you brought that up, Dee. How do I actually pause and slow down and realize things aren't as high stakes as, they feel in this moment. But if I give them a beat and use some of the tools, I can have more perspective of relationships are built over time, right? Like, one meal is not going to make or break, even though I know I used to feel that way. I was like, I didn't even know what I was feeling over imperfection. I couldn't even pause long enough. So I'm so glad that you brought that up. So what are some things that you couldn't do before that made sense, but that you're able to do now? You mentioned like ending the binging, taking time for movement that isn't just about weight loss, but is actually about resourcing yourself. It can be both, right? We get into things aren't either or, it can be both. But what are some of the new behaviors or shifts, I guess?
I would say I really figured out that rigid thinking, that all or nothing, black or white, only binary options, to even be exposed to that there can be an option C. There can be a different way to look at things, to just calm yourself, pause, and look for another option. That's been an amazing experience. But also regarding movement, absolutely, it was only ever about calorie burned. I would keep track of that. If I do this, I'll burn this many calories, and if I do 10 more things today, I'll burn this many calories. But movement is about so much more than that. And I've also learned, again, you can speak more to this, but I feel like with myself, the exercise for burning for calories is such a small piece of my overall being that it wasn't moving me forward in my goals of wanting weight loss. So I just had to kind of look at it differently. And it has just been so forgiving to look at movement as a way of resourcing myself, my mind, and to give me comfort. And then it also just took the pressure off that I didn't do this perfectly, or I didn't lift this weight the exact way, or I didn't do it 10 days in a row. Just to have gratitude to be able to move. And that's what has led me to more consistency in my life than ever before, because I would just be so upset. What am I going to do? I didn't run yesterday. But if I just focus on movement and replenishing myself and restoring myself, it gives it a lot different perspective. And again, it leads to so much more consistency.
Yeah. I know, it's the paradox, right? And that's why I always say, it's like, okay, it doesn't mean you have to, people, if they're coming in with the weight loss goal, it doesn't mean you have to give that up. It just means, with how we know adults change, that long-term weight loss goal is just not incentivizing enough, right? But like to your point, replenishing yourself, resourcing, it's like, oh, this feels good. And when all that pressure isn't around it, it's not used as punishment or like, I think a lot of times what we think is motivation is just really like shame and guilt versus like, does it feel different now to be like, oh, I need to resource myself? Like, doesn't that feel different than maybe like, would you almost redefine motivation now?
Absolutely. And that shame is the hardest place to get out of. And it keeps you so stuck. It kept me so stuck. Again, I could just feel it like a blanket over me. And the movement and thinking about it differently just opened up a world of possibility that like, okay, it's going to be good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just move forward. Just each day, keep plugging along and things are going to get better. But it's also about the bigger things in life, mobility, moving, being able to move with your children or grandchildren, or just being able to pick up groceries and get out of the car, just having the peace in your mind. And it's just about so much more. And when you can get out of that shame blanket, it really lifts so much off of you, and you can move consistently.
Yeah. Yeah. And how about the food? Like what has, I mean,
I'm definitely still a work in progress, but what has changed is I'm no longer binging. I'm still, working on the intricacies of my own body, and everyone's unique. So, but I feel like I have the things at my fingertip now that I've worked on the root cause more. But I pause. And the biggest thing for me is like, if I do turn to food, now I know why. I pause, I understand, I have compassion for myself. If something really stressful is going on in my life, I can understand it and appreciate it, not just be clueless and numb and just, continue to eat the box of crackers because I can't figure out and I just want to be numb. I just don't want to feel. It's just that pause and no longer binging, and having a better understanding of like how I got here, and having compassion and why this all made sense for so long. But I can choose another way. I can choose a different pathway. And that feels empowering and really good.
yeah. Well, and you had mentioned earlier about food going down in intensity and duration. And for people listening, part of the all or nothing is this like imaginary thinking that food is going to be solved overnight, right? And with binging is really associated with shame, which to Dee's point, it's like a blanket. It is hard to get out of. And so what we measure in the program is not, are you never going to emotionally eat again? Like that's not realistic. But we're measuring, has your intensity and duration gone down? And so Dee's saying like, I don't binge anymore, but I'm still going to have moments, right? I like we were snowed in yesterday, and I kind of felt like all I wanted to do, I'd come from Philadelphia helping my sister. Like I was sick. I haven't had like my movement in a couple of days. And I'm like, oh my God, I just want to eat on the couch. I didn't eat a ton of stuff, but I had crackers and cheese, but I don't know if that's even emotional eating because I wanted it and I don't care, But I think I'm going to have to do a whole episode on the Truce With Food is not about perfection, but it's just about, are you learning? Is the intensity and duration going down? And to come from binging to what you're doing now is huge. Like it is huge. So I just want to like name that and like name all the progress that you've had, and to know what's happening. You get more self-awareness each time rather than I suck and now I need another protocol.
Yes, and thank you for pointing that out, because the intensity and duration, again, it's a big deal for me. Like just to be able to slow that down and not be as frequent, and also just thinking about the metrics differently, not necessarily the number on the scale, but just thinking about the metrics differently. What does health mean to me now? It's not just about thinness and weight loss. It's about feeling alive and feeling better in my own skin, and just feeling an overall sense of calmness to face the day ahead, and to have purposeful and enriching relationships in my life. Those are the things, not just like I am not worthy because I'm not this size or this weight, or it's about so many more things. And it's about, yeah, it's just such an expanded definition that has just given me so much.
Yeah. And you're also making me think about using your example of exercise. It's the paradox of like, once you're unattached, but you're showing up, that's when things happen. And that's what happens with weight is like the more you grip to it, the more you're consumed by it and you're kind of reacting to it versus the more you can hold it of like, well, I'm enjoying my life more. I feel lighter. I see my habits changing. I see things shifting. That's when you can like lose weight and enjoy it instead of being like, okay, maybe I've lost 5 pounds, but now I'm like gripping because I'm not enjoying this or my life and I'm putting off feeling good. Like I always say it's like you got to slow down to speed up. And people will say to me, like, and I'm very clear this isn't a quick fix, but I'm like, are you getting further over the years or the months than you were in decades of yo-yoing, right? Because like to your point, even the intricacies of the body, like from going to extremes, I know, physiologically it's called the HPA axis. That stresses the body. So our body also has to take some time to be like, oh, you're not going to send me into this all or nothing, like on, off. Like I can trust that you're going to nourish me consistently. Like there's things that, that just take some time. And if you can enjoy it, like you said, like feeling better relationships, like that is the path to sustainability in terms of however we're defining health. So I'm so glad you brought that up.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just such a difference in just being attuned to my central nervous system and to allow calm, just such a significant difference, and be able to find the joy and cherish the relationships that I care so much about. It just means so much more. And I do believe now the people that truly love me, they don't care what that number on the scale says.
Well, and I'm kind of getting chills because I'm thinking about, you said that shame blanket. And I think that shame blanket, if we look at it from a nervous system perspective, right? Shame tends to put us in freeze and we can't really feel a lot when we're in that space. And so to be able to feel the love that people have for you, it's like that receiving that you talked about. Like that's so much of this that takes the pressure off. It's like, I can actually feel how good my life, is because of the choices I'm making and all that stuff. So just connecting some dots to what you were saying about the blanket.
Absolutely. Yep.
So was there anything that surprised you? I mean, you had mentioned kind of about compassion and the new skills, but is there anything else you want to add about what surprised you about this work?
That intuition is a skill.
Yes.
I could never name it. And now that I have been, again, given the language and the definition, I've been pretty damn good at it. And I didn't know that. And it's what has kept me safe and, and frankly, functioning so well in my life. But it's a beautiful thing to know that, and that I found a safe space to learn new skills that lead to long lasting and sustainable change. And just again, just to reiterate that I found it so surprising that health can mean so much more than thinness and losing weight. And that is life changing. That has a lasting effect that I will, take with me for all the years ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you said intuition is a skill. Yep. 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 So what would you say to someone considering the program? Because I want the people who want to do the work and it has to be a right fit. What would you say to someone who's, considering it?
Just do it. Be brave, be open. It can change your life for the better. It can change your relationship with yourself. I hope that you can feel the hope and promise that I have felt with this program. And I always like to quote Viola Davis from her memoir: "You are the love of your life." And you need to start right now believing that. And I
Oh,
hope that you do. And I hope that you decide to take the leap and just go for it.
oh, you're going to make me cry. I love that it was like on Instagram, her saying that to her daughter. Oh my God. I love that. I know it's in her memoir, but she also, spoke about it. It's such a beautiful, I love that you brought that up. Oh,
Yes, it's all over Instagram, and her book was beautiful. I hope that folks can find it on Instagram. That like the words she spoke to her daughter are so powerful and so meaningful.
well, and you highlight it. You are the love of your life, right? Like you have to, everything stems from our relationship with ourselves. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wanted to share? I always ask all my guests.
No, I guess just as we part, I just want to highlight the change from perfectionism to momentum is huge. I didn't even know I was a perfectionist. I just was trying to avoid being inadequate. So momentum, movement, these new skills are just, again, it's changed my life for the better. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I love that you brought that up. That's so relieving to people. Like we're measuring momentum, not perfection. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Dee. How are you feeling? I know this was an edge and a challenge for you. How are you feeling?
I am a little tearful as always right now. I can't help it, but I'm proud of myself, and I thank you, like, just for everything so much, like the program helping me along my way with growth. But like, I am in a little bit of shock that I did this, and I'm so proud of myself from someone a year and a half ago who couldn't even speak and didn't want to take up space. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. No, you did great. You're the one who showed up. So I'm so proud of you too. Thank you so much for being here, Dee, and for being brave and walking the path. You know I love my people, so I appreciate you so much.
You too. Thank you so much.